For years, Jimmy Butler has been the face of Miami Heat basketball. He's a player whose passion, grit, and relentless drive made him the heart and soul of his franchise. From delivering clutch performances in the postseason to carrying the team to the NBA Finals multiple times, Jimmy gave everything he had to this city. As I've said time and time again, he was synonymous with Heat culture, and his impact was undeniable. But now, everything is changing, and moments like this from Jimmy will soon be a thing of the past. It's almost unbelievable to think about where this team was when Jimmy Butler first arrived. At that moment in time, the Miami Heat were a franchise with little to no expectations. But from the moment Butler first stepped onto the court, he immediately flipped the script. With Butler, there were so many times when the Heat came close to achieving the ultimate goal of winning it all. Perhaps I'm getting a little carried away, but let's be honest, some truly unforgettable moments were made in Miami during Jimmy Butler's time there. And that's exactly why it's so unfortunate that this chapter is ending the way it is. But hey, if you're enjoying the content, take a page out of Jimmy Butler's playbook and be proactive about your future. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you never miss the best basketball content out there. And speaking of taking control, if you want to put your NBA knowledge to work and potentially win big, check out today's sponsor, Underdog. Underdog brings all of your favorite fantasy sports features together in one place, and the app is super user-friendly. Whether you're a seasoned pro or a complete beginner, you'll have no trouble jumping right in and getting started. Underdog's got massive prize pools, daily drafts, and a whole bunch of fun games to keep you locked in all year round. Whether it's football, basketball, or a quick pick, like I'm doing right now, there's always something going on. If you haven't jumped on Underdog Fantasy yet, now is the perfect time. Use my code COOP to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash, plus a free pick to get you started. It's also a great way to support the channel. Thank you, Underdog, for the sponsor. Thursday night against the Indiana Pacers, Jimmy Butler delivered a performance that was hard to ignore for all the wrong reasons. He finished with just 9 points, only took 6 shots, and posted a game-low minus 27 in a game that Miami lost by just 13. Now, we all know that Jimmy has had his fair share of off nights, and that he's not one to go all out during the regular season, but this game, there was something seriously off. Something that went beyond just the low total, and that was his body language. It was genuinely concerning. This was only Jimmy's second game back after an illness that, in his own words, had him down for the count. It was also the second night of a back-to-back, but even with all of that in mind, his lack of energy and poor demeanor were still inexcusable. It was clear that he was sending a message. In fact, his body language was so telling that it immediately reminded me of Harden's infamous fat suit moment when he was trying to force his way out of Houston. And if his actions on the court weren't loud enough, his post-game press conference made everything crystal clear. Jimmy didn't hold anything back, removing any room for doubt about his current situation. What do I want to see happen? I want to see me get my joy back from playing basketball. And, wherever that may be, we'll find out here pretty soon. But I want to get my joy back. I'm happy here, no off the court, but I want to be back to somewhat dominant. I want to hoop, and I want to help this team win. Right now, I'm not doing that. Can you get your joy back here on the court? Probably not. Jimmy might as well have pulled an Anthony Davis and worn a "that's all folks" shirt to the game. I still don't know what we Pelicans fans did to deserve that one, but I still have love for you and that controversial bubble championship you won alongside LeBron James. Jimmy basically came out and said that right now, playing basketball in Miami is joyless, that the joy he once had in Miami probably isn't returning, and that we'll find out where his joy can return very soon. Call me crazy, but man, this whole situation sort of feels like déjà vu. I can't imagine that anyone was happier to hear Jimmy go public with his frustration than Shams. For those who missed it, Shams had his credibility called into question by none other than Jimmy's own agent. It all started when Shams reported that Jimmy's agent had leaked some preferred destinations: Dallas, Houston, and Golden State. Jimmy's agent didn't hold back. Not only did he call the report complete BS, but he also made it clear that Shams usually isn't even worth acknowledging. Shortly after, even Pat Riley came around and said that they weren't trading Jimmy Butler. Everything was stacking up against Shams, and it was kind of starting to look like he was lying. Admittedly, I had my doubts about this situation, but then I remembered Shams is a beast, and also, sensitive information like that leaking with his agent's name attached, that could be detrimental on many different fronts, especially with all of the rules and regulations the league has in place. So after Jimmy's fiasco of a press conference, Shams dropped a piece on ESPN stating that Jimmy had indicated to the Miami Heat that he wanted to be traded and was open to playing anywhere other than Miami. Sheesh, Jimmy, it's like that? I'll say this. Be careful what you wish for, because it just might happen. Anywhere might really end up being anywhere. And yes, I am aware that Jimmy has a player option at the end of the season. I just know that Jimmy isn't trying to waste any time. Once you get past 35, even half a season is precious time you don't want to waste. According to the ESPN piece, one issue that led to Butler's request was the implication from team officials that he hadn't played his hardest in a win against the Pelicans on Wednesday. That game was also another 9-point performance, but that's beside the point. The point is that, according to this report, this implication ticked Jimmy off. He wanted out, and he was ready to make a scene about it, which in turn ticked Pat Riley and the Miami Heat off. It's really starting to feel like this is one of those situations where there just aren't any winners. After Jimmy's post-game press conference, Shams reported that the Miami Heat were suspending Butler for 7 games for multiple instances of conduct detrimental to the team over the course of the season, particularly in the last several weeks. With the Heat having enough of the Jimmy Butler show, they went back on their word. Through his actions and statements, they said he had shown that he no longer wanted to be a part of the team. Butler and his representatives had indicated they wished for a trade, and therefore the Heat would listen to offers. And just like that, everything changed. This situation has flipped from, we aren't trading Jimmy Butler, to he's suspended, and we're trying to move him as fast as possible. With Butler having a player option for next season, it's going to be interesting to see what team trades for him and then opts to pay him. You have to think that all of this could have been avoided if Jimmy had just gotten his money in a reasonable fashion. But hey, at this point the damage is done. The Heat are in a mess. Jimmy Butler is in a mess. And no one really knows how this is going to end. Let me know what you think about this whole situation. Who's in the right and who's in the wrong? What teams make sense for Jimmy? Could we see a surprise team trade for him, like the Denver Nuggets? Man, this league never sleeps.